What are your outlooks for the extra heavy market 2016 first half of the year?
Firstly, I must say that normally second half of the year is better than first half. So and we also see the same with 2015. There's reasonable activity, but we see the extra heavy for next year at best flat compared to this year.
Okay, and what are the main scenarios that go into the fluctuations in sales figures?
I think that the main drivers from external factors, obviously, customer confidence, business confidence in the economy, and as you know, this is quite tricky at the moment, where we are confidence levels lower than the lowest, compared to the last couple of years. But it is actually how truck owners use this external information in terms of their replacement programs. And we find that, especially in, let me call it, marginal businesses or marginal industries, that customers tend to extend their replacement programs. But fortunately for us, and this is what we experience, most customers stay with their replacement programs and realize that this is just a cycle and that it will get better again. So I would say business confidence, and secondly how that impacts on replacement programs.
Absolutely, and we've seen a massive rise in hijacking on our national highways. What sort of active security and surveillance technologies do your trucks utilize?
Okay, so our customers, obviously utilize all the existing products in the market. We do not have specific anti-hijacking equipment. We have our fleet board system where we track fuel consumption and driver behavior and so on. Obviously all our vehicles, the simplest thing is because hijacking always happens from the left-hand side of the truck, we understand. And clearly, our central locking and those kind of standard facilities, I think are the best way for us to combat this now. And obviously, in our investments in trucking wellness, where we really support drivers resting at recognized and well-lit spots along the highways, is just another way how we support that.
And can you talk a little bit more about your training programs, very successful, and how that's raised the bar in terms of driver skill?
We, like our customers, as we engage with customers, we realize that while technology is improving significantly in terms of assisting the driver in operating the unit, I'm talking here of the automated transmissions and the lane assists and the distronic and active safety systems. We know that the drivers are and will be probably the most critical influencing factor in the economic operation of the vehicle. So utilizing our fleet board system, where we can actually track driver behavior on a real-time basis, not only at a high level, but also down to, for example, how is the driver utilizing the pedal, the fuel pedal? How is the driver using the retarders and the braking systems? And then using the factual data, we are able to tailor-make training programs for specific drivers. This is what we do. And then we also, have a very sophisticated, very intensive train-the-trainer program. We want to assist customers to actually have their driver trainers, fulfill the role on a more regular basis than having to expect us to, look at us for the long-term training.
Absolutely. How far away do you think we are from self-drive trucks in South Africa, and is the infrastructure conducive to that?
We are a long way. We are a long way, from that. And to be honest with you, we are a long way from self-driving trucks all over the world. We have, Daimler has now a couple of trucks registered, both as Freightliners, Mercedes-Benz, which we are driving on the roads, or are able to drive on the roads in Europe and America, but we are a long way from that. I think, and obviously, our intention with technology, with what we showed, is this to show where we can take this, and as a technology leader. But in South Africa and Africa, in fact, for the developing world, it's a long way to go.
Would you say trucks are more developed than sedans at the moment?
I would say that no, I can't say that. But and then one of your questions, yes, over the last 20 or 50 years, and clearly, if you see what has happened in truck technology development compared to cars, I think the development has been much faster and much more intense, because clearly the topics of safety is as important as on the passenger car side, but we because of the loads we carry and the driver the skills levels of our drivers and the conditions, we needed to develop and find ways to use technology a lot better.
Absolutely. And how stable do you see manufacturing conditions in South Africa locally? Finally, a bit of a break from some of the upheaval.
We see a fairly stable manufacturing environment, and obviously we monitor this very closely also at our plant in East London, where we build C-Class and several other trucks. We are very heartened by the relative lack of industrial action the last couple of months, where parties obviously were able to agree and finalize negotiations much faster without negative effects on the industry. But in general, I would say we see this at very much the same levels as now, and not on a downward trend.
Now, I was reading that the vehicle manufacturing sector is bigger than mining at the moment. What do you put that success down to?
I haven't had access to those numbers, but I think we must not underestimate the effect of the electricity challenges in the mining sector. That there's physically, I understand, not sufficient capacity to exploit the weaker or the stronger dollar at the moment. We also see that obviously the Chinese economy, which is not growing at the rate it did for the last couple of years, is clearly also negatively affecting commodities, and we see this in our typical customer base, that there's definitely capacity in that segment, and I think that could be one of the reasons why the mining industry is tracking lower than the past.
Absolutely, and we've seen overseas Volvo have got a new plant that's fully off the grid. Will we see that in the future, where you take care of your own power needs?
There's no current plans, and obviously as responsible South Africans, we are looking for every effort to actually become a greener environment. I think our plant in East London is a clear example of that. If you look through the window here, you'll see that all our roofs are painted with a different reflective paint. So we are not investing in huge electricity generation at the moment. We are more focused on the environment.
Absolutely. And speaking of the environment, Euro 6, when are we likely to see that in South Africa, and what will that mean for the industry?
So obviously we would love to see it tomorrow, Greg, but there's been no clear indication, from the stakeholders as to when this will be a reality. I can tell you that apart from us and all other manufacturers being able to introduce the latest products available, which does not only have significant, enhancement in safety technology, but will have a significant fuel consumption benefit. I can tell you that, evidence is shown in Europe that us, like other manufacturers, have had, upwards of 5% better fuel consumption with the new technology. So clearly, that will positively affect the total cost of ownership and profitability for the customer, but also have a market positive effect on the carbon footprint in South Africa.
Absolutely. And how have the demands of fleet managers changed over the last 20 years?
That's a really good question. we have seen a huge improvement or a change in sophistication, where fleets or trucks in the past, were very much bought on the physical hardware as the main criteria. But we see that more and more customers are looking at the total package, and words like total cost of ownership, understanding operational risks, and these kind of things, and the value chain is becoming, the buzzwords in the business. And so, with all due respect, we see far less tire kickers, buying trucks. Obviously, we will never, lose our love for the truck, and obviously, I, as like other drivers, still like to drive the vehicles as much as we can. But it's a project finance decision. It's project finance, and investment decisions. Customers are far more sophisticated in analyzing, for example, ways to finance the trucks. Off balance sheet, on balance sheet, residual value, buybacks, and so on. It's a very, very sophisticated game.
Talking about buybacks, the growth opportunities in the second-hand market, both South Africa and north of the border.
We are very bullish, to be honest, about the second-hand market. More so, in the north of us, where traditionally, those markets were dumped on by the European manufacturers and also the American manufacturers. But with the introduction of the higher emission, well, let me say lower emission standards, better emission standards in these countries, we see that the pipeline of used trucks being dumped in Africa is reducing. Also, and this, so really bullish about the used vehicle business. Our truck store, which is a living example of this, is doing really well. We're very happy with the performance.
And speaking of pipelines, how can trucks and pipeline development coexist in harmony?
We have the firm belief that there are some products which, evidence worldwide has indicated that there are some products that are better transported in a pipe or on a train. Okay, some commodities, and we obviously the introduction of the pipeline between Durban and Joburg has affected fuel transport, but I think the effect is far less than what was originally anticipated. We know that trucks will always be required, for the second and third tier distribution. So we have no issue with co-development between the road, the rail, and the pipelines. And to be also very honest with you, the fact that there's been such a deterioration in the road conditions, especially the rural roads, is also affecting truck manufacturers negatively, because on our warranty programs and so on, we can see that there are issues on the road infrastructure.
Do you see any solutions to those problems?
Well, obviously, government is seeing infrastructure development as a major lever to stimulate economic activity, and and this is why we see that road infrastructure is actually activity is not as far down as what we have with some of the other industries. So we hope that this will continue, and that obviously infrastructure means that we sell lorries. We think it's a government using infrastructure development as a stimulator of economy will benefit not obviously the economy, but also us who operate in that segment.
And with these new Chinese tipper trucks coming in at very cheap prices, how do you kind of convince people that rather go for the quality product?
We use our total cost of ownership argumentation. We say to customers know that, and let me tell you, there's a definite place for cheaper products in the country. There's no question about it. And so we don't actively, we don't have a strategy to actively target our Chinese competitors. But in our Daimler portfolio, of course, we use we use our different products to compete in the different segments. And obviously, with Mercedes-Benz, we tackle our premium segments, and with Fuso, we tackle our middle segment. And so, as I say, while there's a place for the Chinese products, we believe that in the long run, this is not going to affect the overall segment performance in the premium and the middle segments.
And positioning the different brands under the umbrella, how do you not step on each other's toes and service specific segments?
Daimler has a very comprehensive product strategy where all of these things are incorporated, and we are quite comfortable that there's not a single product where there's major overlap. I mean, because we run, these products quite dedicated on a sales perspective, but we leverage the synergies on the customer services and parts side. We rather focus on other opportunities in the market than focus on where we overlap. It's never been an issue for me.
Absolutely, and the brand's got a lot of ties in Europe and America. What can the South African industry learn from our friends overseas?
To be honest with you, we have many operators in South Africa that are at least at par, if not ahead, with what I have experienced, in Europe. So from a transport operator perspective, I think we are up there with the best, no question about it. Obviously, what we'd like the industry to learn is to introduce the cleaner fuels. That there also stakeholders, we will all have to just get our act together and get South Africa to also play, at that level.
You've been talking about cleaner fuels. I saw an interview 4 years ago. You're chatting about it. I mean, that must be frustrating for you after a while? You got the product, you just can't bring it in.
It is very frustrating, So while we do not want to discount that there are some issues, we believe also that South Africans have always shown that where there's a will, there's a way. That this can be fixed. And it is disappointing for us, where we as a country and us as a manufacturer in this country, we want to not only be the market leaders, but we also want to be the leaders in society, on the other topics in terms of, transformation and environment activities and so on. So we really wish and hope and, are available 24/7 to work with all stakeholders to find a way to actually substantiate our government's stated objective to reduce carbon footprint significantly to 2020. So as I say, we can just, use every platform possible to offer our assistance, but to also, make this point that South Africa will be a better place, a much better place, when we are able to introduce, cleaner emission trucks.
And other technologies, any foresight into electric trucks, LNG, gas? I mean, other alternatives?
We do already. We have introduced gas vehicles in our bus business, and pretty soon you will see CNG buses, in some of the major metros, dual fuel. So all of this is available. We also have dabbled a bit with hybrid trucks in South Africa. But as there is no incentive, for the customer to buy this vehicle, I mean, my wife, buys at a certain supermarket because she knows stuff, is cleaner there, and everything is more free range and so on. And as a result, we were able to introduce Euro 5 vehicles for some of our customers because the final customer is now willing to pay a premium for cleaner stuff. This is not the case in the rest of the industry. That it's amazing in Europe when we go to car shows there, the little board next to the car that has the CO2 emission, the font is 3 times the size of the price because this is what customers look for. And until we stimulate, until we get the final customer demand, supported by, really targeted incentive schemes, by our government. We don't see, that this will be hugely successful. Everything is ready to be rolled out.
So we need the strong European style legislation.
Yep.
And the bus side of your business has been very positive. A couple of big orders. How's it going on that side of things?
The bus business is we call it the niche in our product portfolio, and we've had a phenomenal year. I must be honest with you, with a number of really good, really interesting tenders, which were awarded to us. Very technically complicated, but with teams in Brazil and in Europe supporting us, and now in India supporting us so well, the buses has just been a revelation, and it's also the only segment that still shows some growth. And we believe that this will probably continue as government also stimulates economic activity by investing in public transport.
And ways to encourage people to utilize buses more. Like in London, most people don't even have cars.
Greg, if you, the example I can give you is, I drive past the Gautrain station here in Centurion, okay? And you can physically not find parking anywhere, all right? I know that, we supply the buses to Gautrain as well, so we get the utilization numbers. And these are substantially higher than what was originally planned. And therefore, the current discussions to even extend Gautrain. So I think that if you make the service available, it's not long before customers start using it, and actually at the standards that we have in South Africa with Ria Vaya and now Tshwane, I see that I think there's going to be a natural progression from customers to utilize the public transport.
Absolutely, and we're looking forward to seeing you at the Critical Mass Conference in February.
That's right.
Well, thanks for your time, sir, and have a great day.
Okay, Greg, all the best, man. Cheers, eh?